Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today TV. I'm Sakshi Patra and this is Market Today, a show where we'll help you understand all the latest news from the stock markets in terms of the benchmark index moves and also the way the sectoral indices and several of the stocks are moving in trade today, and expert advice as well on the strategy that investors must follow in this market. We remember we are heading towards the series expiry and the markets have been constantly volatile. Today has been a bit of a weaker day from the starting of this session. The markets have already slipped about 1% or so. Let's have a look at how the benchmark index are moving at this point in time. 645 points of a decline for the Sensex, 60,027. That's the level that you're seeing the Sensex looking at. There's a slight bit more, about 25 points of a decline more, and we will also breach that 60,000 mark. So keep an eye. 1% down for the Sensex today. The Nifty 50 also moving 200 points lower in trade at 17,626. That's the level at which the Nifty is also hovering near. When we talk about the sectoral indices, all the sectors of the Nifty are down in the red, especially dragged by several of the indices, including the PSU banks that are down almost 2%, metals that are cracking the most, 2.2% of a fall right there. Also, the IT stocks are down in trade. The Nifty Bank is down in trade. Realty Pack constantly lower, about 1.7% lower in trade as well. The FMCG stocks, auto stocks, you name it. Just slight uptick in the pharma pack is what you're able to see, about a 0.1% of an uptick, but largely it's an all down kind of a day, a broad-based sell-off. The broader markets, both the mid and the small caps are down by over a percent, and the India VIX levels have been constantly telling all our viewers to keep an eye out on this. 6.8% uptick, 14.9 as we inch towards the expiry session tomorrow. We're seeing heightened volatility concerns. The market breadth favoring towards the declines, 43 declines on the Nifty 50 pack, whereas just 7 stocks are up into the green right here. Which are the stocks that are creating maximum amount of pressure? It's the Adani group of stocks. All of them are down in trade today. Look at the kind of fall you're looking at on Adani Enterprises today. 11.6% of a fall, 1388. Adani Ports down by 5.7%. JSW Steel, Grasim, Bajaj Finance, the other losers and the laggards in trade as well. Bajaj Auto, Divis Laboratories, ITC, Cipla, Dr. Reddy's, the only stocks that are up into the green when we talk about the Nifty 50 stocks. Let's welcome our guest for the day to understand a bit more about the market move right now. Mr. Abhishek Basu Malik joins in. He's the founder of Intelsense Capital. Welcome, Mr. Basu Malik, and thank you so much for taking the time out. Well, first up, your comments on the market and the sharp decline that we've seen today. What are the key factors that you've spotted that are behind this kind of a move? Should one be worried? Could there be a deeper fall and a deeper correction in the markets from here?
I think very important to uh, keep in mind that we've been a range for a long time. And right now, I think the range is sort of narrowing down a little bit. So we should be watching out for that, maybe, the budget day lows. So roughly around, I think, 17,350 odd levels on the Nifty. That's what I think would be important to see. If it goes below that, then we need to be slightly more cautious of, if you are a short-term trader.
All right. But a whole lot of stocks are declining in trade. Let me just take one comment from you on the Adani group of stocks as well. After the entire bloodbath yesterday, we saw the group's market cap slipping below the $100 billion mark as well. And there is no stopping, despite the fact that several of the positive news flows are coming in. The management's efforts to repay the debt on the one hand and also to curtail expansion, preserve the cash flows. We are constantly seeing the bloodbath going on. Even today, we've seen this sharp fall on Adani Enterprises today by almost 12 odd percent. It is now trading at 1388. So looks like, things are not yet out of the woods. What would your view be? Right now, we've discussed this space a lot even before, but has anything changed in these last couple of days at these levels with the constant bloodbath now flowing in? What should be investor strategy here?
So first of all, investors right now should not be in the stock at all, right? Because it's not an investment stock as of now. It's completely a speculative stock. There's too much of news flow. It's very difficult to figure out what is happening. So that's the first part. So if you're trading, you need to have your stop losses in place, and you can then play both the upsides and the downsides. The swings are very very sharp. Other than that, I don't think there's anything much to read into it. I mean, at some point in time, you'll have to figure out. whether some of the stocks like Adani ports, or the cement counters, whether they merit buying. But I would right now not venture into buying any one of those stocks where there is so much of news flow, positive as well as negative, uh, from multiple sides. It's not only the management which is coming out with something, it's regulatory bodies, rating agencies. So there's so many things that's happening, that the immediate stock prices can get impacted because of anything. So it's a very, very difficult you know play right now. So better to stay away,
Hmm.
and just have an academic interest.
Okay, understood that as well. But which are the pockets that are giving you confidence at this point in time, despite the kind of range-bound trade and the drifting lower of the levels that we are seeing in the markets right now? If we speak, like I was pointing out, the Sensex has breached that 60,000 mark. We are almost trading at the day's lowest point, 677 points of a cut, 5,996. That's the level at which the Sensex is looking at right now. At this point in time, any pocket that is giving you confidence to look at afresh?
See, I think the themes that I've been speaking about for the last few months. I think all of those themes continue, whether it is railways, infrastructure, capital goods, engineering, banking. All of these are good places to be in. The focus for investors right now should be that uh, you look at days when the markets are weak, right? For example, like today, and if you have a set of identified stocks, then you go ahead and buy, keep nibbling. That's the way, if you're doing an SIP mode, instead
Yeah.
of putting your money on one particular day of the month, you keep it for days where markets are correcting, and
Hmm.
you buy in small increments. That's the way to actually go about accumulating stocks right now.
Okay, understood that. But what about this theme that everybody is talking about, the early onset of summer? We're already seeing temperatures in Delhi at least soaring to over 33 degrees, and that's more than half a century kind of levels that we've seen in February and the mid of February right there. And the theme that obviously comes into discussion along with early onset of summer, there is hope that perhaps the sales of colas, of ice creams, of ACs, that will shoot up earlier than expected. And also on the power stocks as well, with the government also looking to invoke emergency clause of the Electricity Act, and it has directed all the imported coal-based plants to now run at full capacity. So what happens to the power stocks right there? The whole early onset of summer as a theme, should that be on the investors' radar?
That's a good question. I mean, first of all, early onset of summer actually is not very good news for a country like India, where you know where I mean, predominantly we are in a zone where it's already hot. So that's not good news for most people. You know, your consumption, your electricity bills, etc., keep going up. So that will impact normal households. But other than that, from picking out specific businesses, I think you've already mentioned some of the key beneficiaries. Whether it is ACs or coolers, uh, or colas or soft drinks and those kinds of things, ice creams. These are obvious beneficiaries of a prolonged summer, and having the last few years have not been very good, especially for the ACs, coolers kinds of things. uh, it could actually turn around, and this year could slightly be better for some of these players.
Okay, so let me take these particular pockets one by one and maybe ask you for sharing us with some of the names that one can really look at in these pockets. Starting with the power majors, where do you see, that investors can really keep their focus? Is it the likes of Tata Power, Adani Power that one should look at? Should one be looking at a Coal India, Jindal Steel Power kind of stocks? How should one be really approaching this space?
Uh, See, I mean, the power companies, at least say, for example, Tata Power, etc., might do well. But I am more, I don't like this space a lot, simply because they have fixed returns, return on equity kind of thing. So it's not a very lucrative play for me. Uh, I think better ways to play it is through maybe the beverages,
Yeah.
or maybe in fact even the AC players or the cooler market. That might be a slightly better play.
Okay, so in the cola space, should one be looking at stocks like Varun Beverages, or should one go for the traditional FMCG majors like HUL, ITC, those which have products in the ice cream space as well and cola space as well? Should one be looking at that?
So Varun Beverages is a player which has a lot of percentage of revenue coming in from beverages, obviously. So that the impact to its revenues is going to be higher compared to an HUL or ITC. Uh, so the other maybe a interesting play is a Zydus Wellness, where they have these prickly heat powders and things like that. Uh, but all in all, I think Varun Beverages would be a good play. Disclaimer: we have interest in the stock. We've
Okay.
been holding it, and I have personal interest. But in general, I think it's a good play to have.
Okay, and what about the companies which deal in white goods, especially, the fans and AC majors, something like a Havells, Crompton, Greaves, are those the stocks that one should be looking at?
Definitely, I mean, fans, ACs like Volta's Blue Star could be interesting plays.
Okay, all right. And apart from this, what about the crop stocks and the fertilizer stocks? We've been hearing the IMD scientists talking about how early onset could be having an impact on some of the crops right there, like wheat or something like that. So, how does one really deal with the fertilizer stocks, especially right now? We don't have any indications of a normal monsoon yet. We will be waiting for that. Maybe in March, there'll be more indications from the IMD and SkyMet on that. But before that, how does one really deal with the fertilizer stocks?
I honestly can't sort of correlate fertilizers right now with our early
Yeah,
onset of summer. So how
yeah,
that will get played out, I'm not very sure. So sorry about that.
yeah. Apart from this, is there any other pocket that you also believe that one can look at from the early onset of summer perspective? What else as
But
a theme can emerge as
I
an
think
ally?
I think
Yeah.
you've covered all of it. It's basically beverages, uh, ice creams, all of that. Uh, ACs, coolers. That's
Okay.
pretty much the biggest beneficiaries.
Okay, understood that as well. And now, with a large part of the earning season now behind us, I just wanted to take one viewpoint on that also, that, from the whole basket, what have you really come to understanding your own earnings upgrades, if you've done any, or downgrades, if you've done any, post the earnings this time around?
So I think the biggest, the brightest spot has been typically, the engineering, cap goods, infrastructure. That's the space where earnings have, been actually quite good, even for very large companies, like ABB, Siemens. All of their results were spectacular. So that's an area which I've been speaking about for a while, and you know continues to look good. I think we are in that cycle of for the next 2-3 years where all these kinds of capex intensive businesses are going to do well. So that's the place that we should be looking out for.
All right, understood that. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Basu Malik, for being with us on the show and discussing these various ideas and several sectors that one can investors can really look at this point in time. But the markets are clearly not in the green. We are seeing signs of slipping away further towards the lowest point of the day. Almost 700 points down now for the Sensex. 210 points of a cut being seen on the Nifty as well. So we are looking at a drifting lower. Of course, there are a whole host of concerns, including the global markets move. We did see that the market slipped quite sharply in the US on Tuesday as well. That was an overhang. Of course, the markets are waiting the US Fed minutes, the RBI minutes as well. And perhaps they're also concerned about the comments on higher for longer when it comes to rate hikes going forward from here. And that may be one of the sentiment beaters at this point in time. but individually we've discussed a whole lot of pockets that could still have opportunities for all investors, and that's how you should be really looking at your own investment portfolio at this point in time. As we speak, 700 points of a cut on the Sensex. We'll keep an eye out on whether this could escalate into a sharper fall through this trading session, especially in the last 2.5 hours of trade. So do stay with us onto Business Today TV to catch all the updates from the world of business and stock markets. Many thanks for tuning in for now. Don't go anywhere. Also stay engaging with us with the other social media platforms that we are present on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn and Instagram. Many thanks for tuning in for now.
The government mentioned that petrol and diesel can be included in GST. How soon can a